All right, get ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into how Osho views enlightenment. We're basing this on an episode from the Curious Rays podcast. And if you know those guys, you know they're always asking the hard-hitting questions and poking holes in, things most people believe. What I found really interesting was Osho's take on how simple enlightenment can be, especially because spirituality can feel like this huge, complex thing. And sometimes it feels like, what's going to cost you?
Yeah, it really is refreshing. Like he's cutting through all that noise and dogma.
Totally. And the Curious Rays guys went right into how a lot of us think of enlightenment, like it's this big, hard-to-get prize you win after, like, years of meditating and, I don't know, living in a cave, all that.
Yeah, the classic monk on a mountain talk, right? But Osho just completely flips that. He says it's not something you achieve, but something you realize it's already there inside you, like some hidden treasure just waiting to be found.
So it's not about adding more practices or beliefs. It's like getting rid of the stuff blocking that realization. It's like when you can't find your glasses, but they're on your head the whole time.
Exactly. He calls it unlearning, like shedding all those old patterns and beliefs that stop us from seeing, well, our true nature.
Okay, so if enlightenment isn't this massive accomplishment, why do so many spiritual teachers make it seem that way? The Curious Rays hosts were pretty skeptical about what they call the Enlightenment industry. All those retreats and workshops that promise to unlock your inner guru. For a pretty penny, of course.
Well, Osho was really critical of that whole commercialization thing. He thought that some teachers, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but they kept their followers kind of dependent instead of actually empowering them.
So it's like dangling this carrot of enlightenment, always just out of reach. But hey, one more course, one more mantra, and you'll get there.
Right. It can definitely feel like that, yeah. And then, well, who benefits from that? It's not the person who's stuck in that cycle, that's for sure. Osho believed that true enlightenment, like, sets you free. It doesn't make you need someone or something else.
And that brings up another thing. We often imagine enlightened people as being, well, emotionless, like they're detached from the world and all the problems.
Right, like the classic picture of a calm sage who's, totally unaffected by everything around them.
But Osho throws that whole image out, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He saw enlightenment not as being above life, but embracing it fully. With all the good and bad, all those emotions, joy, sadness, anger, everything. It's all part of the experience. It's feeling them without letting them control you.
So it's not about becoming some kind of superhuman who never gets upset or anything, but it's more about learning to, I don't know, ride those waves without being swept away.
Yeah, finding that balance inside yourself, even when everything is changing around you. And, Osho's own life was a great example of this. He was known for being joyful, funny, even a little rebellious. He wasn't exactly that typical, serious, unemotional guru.
That's what I find so interesting about him. He flips so many of our ideas upside down.
No.
Okay, so if enlightenment isn't about suppressing our human side, but embracing it fully, how in the world do we get there? I have a feeling this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah, this is where Osho kind of throws a wrench in things.
Ooh, I love a good twist. What does he say?
Well, he says that, like, trying to get enlightened is actually what stops you from getting there.
Wait, so the harder we try, the further away it gets.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of like, I don't know, a cosmic joke or something.
This is trying to catch your own shadow, right? You can run and run, but you'll never catch it. Osho's point is that enlightenment isn't a place you get to, it's a way of being.
So it's not about pushing ourselves to become something we're not. It's more about realizing that we already have that inner light, that wholeness.
You got it. The Curious Rays guy said it perfectly. Just be. It sounds so simple, maybe too simple, but there's something really profound in those two words.
I think I'm starting to see that. It's like he's saying, stop thinking so much. Stop trying so hard. Just be here in this moment with all the good and bad. It's about accepting ourselves, right here, right now.
Exactly. And what's so freeing about what Osho says is that it takes the pressure off. We don't have to be superhuman or reach some mystical state. We just have to be.
It's like that saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
Yeah.
It's about finding, like, the sacred in the ordinary stuff.
Exactly. And that might be the most freeing part of how Osho sees things. It makes enlightenment, like, less mysterious and more available to everyone.
And I think the Curious Rays guys would agree. They're all about cutting through the spiritual stuff and getting to the core of it all. And here, it's just being.
Yeah, what they found in Osho's teachings was a message of, like, total acceptance and being present. It's about embracing life fully without holding back.
And isn't that what we all want deep down? To feel truly alive, connected, to be ourselves.
I think so. And maybe that's the real heart of enlightenment.
This has been such an interesting conversation. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of Osho's ideas,
Yeah.
but it's definitely given me a lot to think about.
And that's the great thing about these deep dives. They're all about making you curious and wanting to explore more.
So true. Okay, before we move on, let's just do a quick recap of the key takeaways from how Osho views enlightenment, all based on that Curious Rays podcast.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
First, we talked about how enlightenment isn't some huge achievement for just a few people. Osho says it's about realizing something that's already inside all of us. It's about unlearning those beliefs and patterns that hold us back, not adding more stuff on top.
Right. We also talked about the downsides of the enlightenment industry, like how spirituality gets commercialized and how the search for enlightenment can become this endless chase for the next workshop, retreat, or guru. Osho is really against that, reminding us that real awakening isn't something you can buy.
And we challenge that idea of an enlightened person being completely detached and without emotions. Osho's view is all about embracing all of life, including our emotions, but not letting them rule us. It's about finding that inner balance.
And lastly, we touched on that paradox of searching for enlightenment. Like just by looking for it, we might be creating a roadblock. Osho encourages us to just to be fully present and aware in this moment.
Wow, so much wisdom packed into such a simple message. So, what stands out to you the most from our deep dive into Osho's teachings?
You know, what really hits home for me is that idea of letting go of the chase, to stop trying to reach for something that's already inside us. It's a message of freedom and simplicity. And it feels so important in our world that's always moving so fast and focused on achievement.
Absolutely. And for me, that's remembering that enlightenment isn't about becoming some perfect version of ourselves. It's about accepting who we are. Messy, beautiful, perfectly imperfect, right here and now.
I like that, yeah.
Okay, folks, it's time to wrap up this deep dive into Osho's unique take on enlightenment. We hope you found it as insightful and thought-provoking as we have. But stick around, we'll be back in a moment to explore what Osho's ideas mean practically and what it really means to simply be in our everyday lives. Stay tuned.
All right, so we're back and ready to dig into like the practical side of Osho's ideas. We've been talking about his really interesting perspective on enlightenment, all based on that Curious Rays episode.
It really does make you think differently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He just flips so many traditional spiritual ideas upside down.
Totally. So if enlightenment is about just being, how do we actually, live that out in our everyday lives? It's not like we can just sit around and do nothing, right? No, it's not about being passive, that's for sure. I think it starts with like becoming more aware, bringing your full attention to each moment instead of getting lost in thoughts about the past or, worrying about the future.
So it's like really enjoying that first cup of coffee in the morning, being totally present when you're talking to a friend, seeing a beautiful sunset without your mind going through your to-do list.
Exactly. And bringing that same kind of presence to everything you do, even the boring stuff.
And maybe that's where the freedom comes in. Like not needing to chase some big goal or accomplishment to feel happy or content, but finding that contentment right now in this moment, just as it is.
Yeah, it's a big shift in how you see things, from trying to become something to just being. And when that happens, you find this sense of peace and wholeness that was always there, just hidden under all that striving.
This makes me think about meditation. People often say it's the path to enlightenment, but maybe it's more about training our minds to just be present, like a gym for your awareness.
I think you're right. Meditation isn't about emptying your mind or reaching some blissful state. It's more about noticing your thoughts, feelings, and all that without judging them, just watching them come and go.
So it's like practice for being present, even when life is throwing all sorts of things at you.
Exactly. And the more you practice being aware, the more naturally it starts to happen in every part of your life.
This is starting to feel less like some big mystical idea
Yeah.
and more like a practical way to, actually live your life.
And that's what's so great about it. Osho's teachings are all about real human experience. He doesn't want us to reject the world or become monks. He's encouraging us to really embrace life, the good and the bad, and find those amazing things in the everyday stuff.
So enlightenment isn't about escaping from life. It's about diving right in with open eyes and an open heart.
That's a great way to put it. And I think that's such an important message for us today, especially when the world is always demanding our attention, pulling us in so many directions. Just being present, it's like a radical act of self-care.
It's like hitting pause on autopilot and taking back our attention, our presence, our whole selves.
And when you're truly present, You find this peace, this clarity and connection that you can't get from any accomplishment or achievement. It's already inside you, just waiting to be discovered.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like my whole understanding of enlightenment has changed.
That's the power of a good deep dive, right?
It's,
It
yeah,
makes you question things, see things from different angles, and come up with new ideas.
totally. Before we wrap up for good, I want to leave you with one last thought inspired by Osho.
Okay, I'm listening.
What if, instead of chasing after enlightenment like it's some far-off goal, we just let ourselves be curious? Curious about what's going on inside us, curious about this moment, curious about the whole mystery of life itself.
That's a beautiful idea, to approach life with that sense of wonder and openness instead of trying to force a specific outcome.
Exactly. So embrace that curiosity. Explore your own inner world and see what happens when you just let yourself be. Until next time, happy diving.